Welcome to 0 to 60.
I'm Matt McChesney. I am the owner and operator of 6-0 Football Academy and 6-0 Equipment. Played at the University of Colorado from 2004. 6 years in the National Football League on both sides of football.
I'm Matt McChesney. This is 0 to 60. That is Coach Prime. We are at the University of Colorado. Brother, thank you so much.
All right. 0 to 60. We're rolling.
All right, and we're rolling 0 to 60. Happy Monday to everybody out there. I'm sorry about last Friday. We had some car issues, and I got to get a new truck because of it. So I apologize for last Friday, but we are rolling here on Monday. We got a lot to talk about. NFL great and college football great and great buff. Chad Brown is on the show here in about 10 minutes to talk all things buffs. We're going to talk about the spring game and the transfer portal and so much more. So Bailey's on the ones and the twos. Let's pay some bills and let's roll, bro.
Let's roll. Happy Monday. We got a lot to talk about, Matt. And this show is brought to you. We got two sponsors here. The show is brought to you by Melon, MELIN.com. Provides you the best hats in the world. Head on over to melon.com today. These hats provide you durability, built to last 5 times longer than any other hat. Built for the water. And if you need to wash it, they come right back to life and look right brand new. The hats also provide you comfort and fit, the most comfortable fit, and you can feel the difference in the materials they use. Sizing, they offer small, classic, or XL to fit every size head. So if you're looking for the world's most durable hat, look no further. Go to melon.com. That's MELIN.com and put it to the test yourself. The show is also brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. BetOnline is you cover with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here and we roll. Matt, how are we doing on this fine Monday? Coming fresh off Colorado's spring game this weekend where they retired Shador and Travis's jersey. They announced Coach McCartney is going to be getting a statue, which I think is a great thing to see as well. But Matt, happy Monday. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Just was a crazy weekend, but it's over and we're rolling. So yeah, Monday's good. Been good so far. Had a great morning. Guys came in, worked hard this morning. So great guest on today, Chad Brown. I'm sure that there'll be some questions asked and some questions answered, which is good. Yep. Yeah, man. So let's get into this shit, and then when Chad gets on, we'll get into the nitty-gritty.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, first off, Colorado had their spring game this past weekend, and I wanted to get I don't know if you had a chance to watch it or anything, but I wanted to get your biggest takeaways from Colorado's spring game before we really dove into some topics here, Matt. I don't know if anything stood out to you, or did you like Juju's performance? What are the things that stood out to you the most from Colorado's spring game this past weekend?
Well, Juju's going to start.
Damn.
I said this last week, and everybody thought it was crazy, but I personally think the kid's going to start. So first team skill position players at today's spring game were the rookie is starting the spring game. So that is not by chance. That is not because he's up in the rotation. That's not the way this works. So Juju's going to start as a 17-year-old freshman, and we're going to see what we can see. I'm sure there's going to be some ups and downs, but this kid is a freak, and I think he's going to be really good. He's using this spring as his red shirt. I would be Salter can stay and back up the rookie, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the transfer portal, sooner than later. And that's just the way that this works. So, it may have been disciplinary that Salter got in trouble or something, and that's why Juju started, but he still started.
Yeah.
So he's starting the spring game, and we can come up with whatever action that we want. But look, Salter's a hell of a player, and I hope that he at least I hope that the competition in camp is as crazy as it's going to be, because I think it's going to be a crazy competition, and it's there's no like win or lose here. You either get a 5th-year veteran quarterback that can run the system, assuming we know what that system is,
right?
Because Pat Schumer said that they're not really changing anything, which
That's
I really hope we're changing stuff, because we need to run the ball more. Or you're getting a freak rookie who can really spin it and really play. So there's going to be growing pains with both. There's more system pains with Salter and growing pains with Juju. But I it's cool seeing the kid start and play as well as he did. Yeah. I don't know. Spring games are tricky for me because you're playing yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're any good or not, bro. It's just it's take it for what you want, and you can either really blow it up and this is the reason that they're winning or losing, and this is the reason they're going to be good or bad, or you can just take it for an exaggerated practice, and that's what it was.
Yeah, definitely. And man, you are sold on Juju. Like I am mind blown right now because I really think that they're gonna go with experience here. I know that they started Juju in the spring game. I get he's a hell of a player. This ain't no knock on Juju. This is literally looking at college football for once. Because Arch Manning, if you think about it, I mean, look at his class. He's the one sitting back, and I think he's gonna really be the star that shines from his quarterback class. I think if Juju sat behind Salter, gained that experience, because he is only 17. So if you did sit behind Salter, gain that experience that Salter has, I think that's CU's best route. We might agree to disagree there, but we'll see how the game goes as it plays out. And Juju's a starter day one up. That wouldn't shock me either. Like I don't
think there's not a bad answer here. There's no wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. And
I'll take either of them. I think both have the potential to be pretty good players.
I agree. Absolutely. Well, Matt, before we have our special guest, Chad Brown on, and I can't wait to discuss Colorado's jersey retirement, the spring game, and so much more with him. Going back to the spring game here, Matt, I don't know if you saw Colorado kicker Buck Buchanan here, 60-yard field goal. Does this make you excited a little bit, Matt? Some length there that we haven't seen, or we've had Mata here, so I don't think Mata can kick 60-yarder. So I saw this, I was like, God damn, Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen somebody hit a 60-yarder since Crosby.
Yeah, so, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so this is big time. It's a huge weapon. I mean, not having a kicker like that in Boulder it's letting your team down. Right. So Mata did an admirable job, but trust me, anything past 40 yards, everybody is buttholes tight, and everyone's like, oh, fuck, we're going to miss this kick. And then he makes it, and you're like, hey, all right. So it's nice to have – this kid's a 5-star, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's from IMG, too. So
we talked about him a few months ago.
Yeah, he's a hell of a kicker, and now it's just a matter of, getting him on the field and letting him do his job when – you don't need to go for it on 4th and 4 from the 40 anymore. You can just go out there and rack up 3 and kick the ball off. So
definitely,
Mata is when Mata can kick extra points.
Yeah,
look, this can't be like a sympathy thing. Mata was good at his time. Mm-hmm. He was good for his time and place, and now it's time for this Buchanan kid to, take over and do his thing.
I agree with you, Matt, 100%. And like you mentioned about Mason Crosby, you ain't seen a 60-yarder since Mason. I saw that on Twitter, and the first thing I thought was like, man, I wonder what Matt thinks of this. I guarantee he's been waiting to see something like that and see who's kicking.
Sorry, I don't know what high school the fucking kicker went to.
It's all good, chat. Let's get into it, Matt. Our special guest is here, and I can't wait to discuss so many great topics with him. Without further ado, 15-year NFL veteran linebacker, Colorado alum, Chad Brown joins the show. Chad, can't thank you enough for joining. How you doing, my man?
Hey, brother.
I'm doing well, fellas. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How's Arizona?
Sunny.
Yeah, it was snowy here. It sucked all weekend. I was so envious of all the sunniness in Arizona. Chad, what's up, bro? How's life?
Life's treating me well. Life is treating me well. Excited to see what next season has in store for our Buffaloes. And just catching the tail end of your conversation there, when you are building a program, there's kind of some steps to that. And that last leg, that last step is so often special teams. Not just the kickers, but a lot of the guys who are going to be covering kicks, a lot of those special teams core guys you need. So if this team is going to improve, then that next leg of development has to be there. And from this spring game, it looks like at least we got some kickers. We'll find out next fall how well the coverage units are.
All right, so let's dive straight into this. There's very few people on this earth that, you know, I can sit down and have a football conversation with and learn a bunch of shit, and you're one of those combos. How do you think that they're going to look losing as much as we are to the NFL and graduation and whatnot? A ton of transfer portal turnover, a lot of speculation that they're going to improve off 9 wins. How do you see the team lining up here after the spring game?
Can any fan base or any football analyst give that kind of assessment anymore based off of spring ball? I think it's virtually impossible because of where we are. I mean, if this was 10 years ago, then sure, we could say, all right, now we've seen, for example, I know obviously Juju's young, but let's say if he was here for a couple of years, well, we've seen him grow and progress over the last couple of years. We've seen his knowledge of the offense grow. Therefore, we expect to see him improve his passing numbers by 10 or 20%. I don't think any college fan base can say that because of those reasons you listed. So many new players, guys leaving for the NFL. The transfer portal was once again active for the Buffaloes. So, yeah, I think we hope and we've got desire, and we have to take some of the things that the coaches or those close to the program say about some of these guys. But in the end, there will be guys who will line up on opening day who aren't on this team right now, who won't be on this team until the fall, who may somehow not even be here at the beginning of fall camp, who will play critical roles for this football team. So I did 17 college football games from a broadcast standpoint last year. Mm-hmm. And the amount of unknowns in college football is perhaps at its greatest level ever. And so for me to have Texas A&M 4 times last year, I called 4 Texas A&M games last year. I virtually got a different team in each of those 4 games. Now, guys like Shamar Stewart and some guys who were talking about being drafted, we certainly knew their names and we certainly had an idea of what they were, but their offense progressed. Quarterbacks changed. There was a lot of change at different positions. Guys who the coaches were expecting to start and play big roles, they weren't ready for prime time. And so when I had them against Texas at the end of the season, that was a far different Texas A&M team than when I had them early in their year. So I expect we'll see a similar kind of thing from the bus probably every single year, because this is how college football works nowadays. Very long-winded answer to what should have been a simple question. Sorry.
Yeah, a good answer. Damn good answer. So, okay, CB. Are we ever going to get any regulation, any rules, any tampering rules? Are we going to get anything, or is this going to continue to just be the Wild West? Because I dig the Wild West. It's fun for like a weekend, but it's kind of like, like Vegas, like, it was fun for 2 days, and the third day I hit the wall. Like, I'm hitting the wall here with this no regulation, no rules, tampering. I mean, I met with coaches this morning, and a couple of the coaches, we talked more about guys that are in college, that I've already placed in college, than we did about high school kids that they could recruit. It's crazy.
Well, I think to your point, the Wild West is clearly, it seems like it's unsustainable. And we know there's college football is going to change. And this is part of a much, much bigger conversation as far as conferences and geographic rivalries and all that, because college football is changing. So if you're in the SEC, I know Vanderbilt beat Alabama this year, this past season. So Vanderbilt's going to say, hey, look at us. But in reality, Vanderbilt does not contribute monetarily to the SEC. So at some point, these teams are not just going to start adding teams to their conferences. They're going to start kicking teams out. So there's going to be teams. Huh?
We're going to start cutting teams?
We're going to start cutting teams because,
Really?
you don't add to the bottom line. If we're going to have our tier 1 national championship and we've got 2 divisions of 20 teams each, and those 40 teams are the cream of the crop in college football, and they're competing for the tier 1 national championship, because let's face facts, there are a smaller list than 40 teams that actually have a chance to win a national championship. That's
true.
one element of change that's going to be ongoing over the next 5 to 7 to 10 years. But to your question specifically, we are looking at now where colleges are actually going to be able to pay players. So that's the first step of regulation. Then we've got to get back into the NIL not being pay for play, because that's what the schools are going to begin to do. The NIL will have to go back to what it originally was. Hey, you got Bob's let's go with Chad's Chevy, and you want to have Juju come be an endorser for you, then that's an honest NIL, name, image, and likeness. I'm using your name, image, and likeness to help me sell products, because it's moved now into what we saw with Nico, where he's essentially trying to blackmail or use leverage against the collective in Tennessee to go from a $2.5 million per year deal to a $4 million deal. And Tennessee, I thought, was right to push back on that. But it speaks to what players are promised, what they actually get, the fact there's no rules or regulations around any of this. So players are end up being hurt, programs are end up being hurt, fan bases end up being hurt. Everyone's hurt because we've got to have the adults in the room who screwed this up for so long now actually be adults, get some shit done, and put some rules and regulations around this where we as college football fans can know what to expect, where coaches can know who's in and out and who's being paid what. Yeah, we've got to wrap our arms around this and create some kind of sense of regulation.
You brought up Nico, and I got a simple question. Kind of a statement and then a question. When you were done with your rookie contract with the Steelers, you hit free agency, you had leverage, went to Seattle, correct?
Correct.
Balled out there, and that was generational wealth, life-changing money at that time, correct?
Correct.
Kick ass. Why is it that no one can tell these kids that, yes, a $2 million bag right now sounds good, but you could make $60 million a year as a quarterback? Like, why is it that no one's talking about the real bag? I don't feel like he has real leverage. I felt like he swung and he took his shot and they laughed at him because their pockets are way deeper. Like, it almost makes the kid look. It makes the system look bad. Like, you guys think you have real leverage? Now kick rocks.
Well, I think that making the system look bad isn't very hard. The system does it all by itself. We see it from the daily headlines. The system sucks. So, but when I was talking about his leverage to go all the way through spring ball and suddenly, the day before the spring game, decide I'm not going to show up and use that little bit of leverage. There's that. And I think there may be some concern from his people that maybe the NFL bag was not as sure as it seemed when he showed up and people were talking about him being, the next great college football quarterback. Here's a guy who's 6'4" and 5-star recruit and blah, 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 blah. As the season went along, his numbers really trailed off.
Yeah.
And I had them against Alabama, and he was not great in that game. And that was one of his mid-season games where he was still playing okay before he really fell off at the end of the season. So I sensed they were trying to take advantage of the little bit of leverage that they had. But I guess to your point, there's a reason why Don King, the world famous promoter of boxing, would give boxers a briefcase full of money, because he understood that they want it now. It was real. It was now. It was tangible, rather than millions down the road. I can give a boxer a briefcase of money with a couple $100,000 into it, and that's more impressive than a $3 million payday a year or 2 years from now. So Don King recognized that about youth, about the fragility of folks within a contact sport, whether it's boxing or football, and they're concerned about next year ain't promised.
Yep.
You know, it ain't promised. So I got to take and get what I can get now. And so while the NFL seems fantastic, me and my family need money right now. For Arch Manning, yeah, Arch Manning can take the long view on every decision that he makes. And that's awesome for him. There's generational wealth all kind of places within the family. I have no idea of what Nico's background is, but for players who are trying to leverage for more money now, it's typically because they or their family could use the money immediately. So the long view just doesn't work for them in most cases.
Bailey, you got a question before we jump into some more spring game topics and the Buffs?
Well, yeah, and Chad, I can't thank you enough for joining. I think what you said, that last part, very, very accurate. But wanted to, kind of tie this in with Colorado a little bit. I think we all know tampering is rampant in college football, no doubt about that. And Coach Prime actually called out Virginia for tampering with one of Colorado's players, and this comes as news as Isaiah Augusta, Colorado's leading rusher last season, signs with Virginia in the transfer portal. Chad, before I get your take, I want to go ahead.
384 yards and 4 tutties gets you $500,000.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Chad, before I get your take, I want to go ahead and show this take here, and I'll get your take after. Take a look.
Carter got over the bank. What car that? What's the school? What's the school over the bank? Virginia, what's my camera? Right there. Virginia, you got to stop. I let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. Hold him up. Come on now. Come on. We let you have one.
We let you have one, and that one is Isaiah Augusta for reportedly $500K. Chad Brown, what is your thoughts on tampering in college football and then Coach Prime calling out Virginia for tampering? Go ahead.
I think he's right to call them out, but to what? Who's going to punish them? Right. What's the blowback? There's a reason why tampering is rampant, because there's no mechanism in place to apply any punishment. Yep. What's the NCAA? It literally has no power. They are so afraid of a lawsuit right now. They've got no power. So the ability for college football to govern itself simply isn't there. We need a college football commissioner is what we need. And based off of that, we need to go to Congress and develop some rules that are nationwide, not state to state, because different rules for teams that are in the same conference, because they're in different states, they got different rules they got to operate under. So it's the wild, wild west, as Matt said earlier. And part of that is not just, the bags, is players leaving for bags, teams tampering, teams going after guys who are already, committed to a certain school. So I'm not surprised by this development, nor was I surprised by Nico. All our worst fears when this NIL thing was allowed to happen are now coming true. When we were like, oh, Nick Saban is soft, he doesn't want to deal with today's players. It's got less to do with today's players and the fact that there's no rules and regulations. And for a guy who's built his career around exploiting the rules and regulations to his benefit as best as he possibly could, in a space where there are no rules and regulations, how does a guy like that operate? So I can see why he stepped away. I can see why college coaches go to the NFL, because the NFL's actually got more rules and regulations than college football does at this point.
Damn, bro. CB is spit pot fire today on 0 to 60. Goddamn, CB. All right, but doesn't Prime tamper? Don't his coaches tamper? Doesn't everyone tamper? If you call out someone for tampering while you're tampering, doesn't that take away from the fact that you're being tampered with?
I cannot speak specifically to that allegation.
You have to assume that they are, but
I have to 100% assume that every college football staff tampers. Everyone does. There's literally every team's got a personnel guy, or the new thing is having a GM. So if you're Ron Rivera at Cal, or if you're Andrew Luck at Stanford, at every NFL GM office I've ever walked in, he's got the nameplates with the magnets.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got his own team. And he's got his own team up there, and they're constantly moving those around. Who's on injured reserve, who's this, who's that. And they've got a separate whiteboard with all the magnets of the available free agents or guys who are going to be upcoming free agents. And they're constantly rating and grading personnel. These are the top 5 free safeties available. These are the top 5 nose tackles. To think that these GMs or personnel guys for these college teams aren't doing that, it'd be ridiculous. You would be not doing your team a service if you didn't do that. If you literally waited for the transfer portal list to come out and then you started your process, you're way behind. It's absurd notion to think that way. So yes, I think every college football team across the country tampers. And again, with no specific knowledge, I don't want to say Coach Prime is doing it, but someone on the college football on the Boulder staff is reaching out to someone some way, somehow. Hell, we saw Shador and Shiloh. You interested in leaving your team? We saw the social media.
Oh yeah.
So of course.
And look, bro. Hey, people want to play for Prime. They're coming to him. Hey, he may not even have to really do a whole lot of quote unquote tampering. And I'm sure that he's not the one doing it. He's got an army of people behind him that do these jobs. Yeah, I mean, look, you can't hate the guy because he does it better than everybody else. So it's like the perfect combination of timing and no rules, and Coach Prime coming to the figurehead in Boulder and being the head coach that's really spearheaded a lot of this. All right, hey, let's get into this. So we got to do for about 10 more minutes here on 0 to 60. NFL great 15-year veteran Chad Brown. And buff great national champion back in the day, played with Deion Figures, played with some all-time greats, as you're an all-time great yourself. And your 3-4 is up on the west side, correct?
Of the stadium?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
It's not. Okay. No. So that's the questions we wanted to get into right away. So Shador and Travis's numbers go up this weekend. We didn't get a chance to talk about it Friday because people can't drive, but I just wanted to get your thoughts about all this. And, after like a week of hearing other people's opinions and, back and forth with folks, where do you stand on this couple of days after the spring game and watching it be done?
College football of any of the sports relies upon the past and legacy. Mm-hmm. If Notre Dame is playing on national TV, at some point in the pregame, they're going to show black and white footage of Newt Rockne and the Four Horsemen. If USC is playing on national TV, I guarantee you Reggie Bush highlight will be played. A Marcus Allen highlight will be played. We embrace the past in college football. That's where the alumni, that's why we can come to a game and we can have graduated 40 years before, because our time on campus is honored and respected. And it's not just this team, it's our team, which means we are all Colorado Buffaloes from the very beginning until now. So 130 plus years of Colorado football, it's still us. It's still CU. Yep. And so my issue is not like, Coach Prime, you're a bad guy. I can't believe you would do this. And it's not, of course, Travis wins the Heisman Trophy. Of course, your number should be retired at some point. We can quibble about, and there's been lots of conversation about Shador and 2 years, and is that enough, and all that to be included in this list of greats. That's certainly an argument to be had. But I don't have an issue with the kids. I certainly can't blame the kids. And I don't know who was the driver behind this decision. I saw your tweet where you talked to some folks who talked to Prime and got a little information there. And so no matter who was the driver in this, to ignore the greatest era of college football at CU can't help but land poorly upon me. To not acknowledge someone who just went into the College Football Hall of Fame, who wears the same number as Shador. Number 2, you mentioned Deion Figures. Yep. Deion Figures first-round draft pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a CU Hall of Famer, a college football Hall of Famer, won the Thorpe Award for the best defensive back in the country. And while we're giving his highlights, was a part of the greatest era of college football at CU. The national championship season was a massive part of what we did. In fact, it was such a massive part, had the game-sealing interception in the Orange Bowl. So if you're going to talk about accolades, not just personal, but team, I'm not sure if you can come up with a better record than that. So for him to be leapfrogged by someone else who just finished playing, who still should be on campus taking classes, it lands rather poorly on me. So are the players deserving? Yes. And again, we can quibble about Shador, but Travis certainly. And is there something to Coach Prime saying, well, Rashawn's passed and now Coach McCartney's passed and, they're just getting a statue up, so I want guys to receive theirs while they're still here? I get that. But at the same time, there is a tradition. There is an established tradition of a bit of a waiting period for these kinds of things. And so, it lands poorly for several reasons, but mainly because it ignores the great past. Now, is Coach Prime responsible to do that, to give someone else, some other team, someone who's not his players, their flowers? Yes, you are, because the past matters. Legacy matters. The shoulders that we stand upon matters. We are all Colorado Buffaloes, not just these guys. CU football has been played for 130 years, not just the last 3 years. So it all matters. And so while you think, well, this is a great honor, I want to give these guys, one of the things you should do is look to the past and see who else deserves to be honored. When in the NFL, when a new CBA comes up, a new collective bargaining agreement, the older players typically don't get a voice in the room for that negotiation between the current players and the owners. But what's one of the things that the current players do? They usually find ways to give older players a little bit of what they got. Here's another year of severance. Here's another year of medical savings. Here's a boost in your pension. You give back to the past because those are the shoulders that you stand upon. So clearly I've got some feelings about all this. But I don't think the three main people that people are talking about, Prime, Travis, and Shador, are bad guys here. I just think the situation was not handled well.
For sure.
All right. So from what Mike and Cordell told me, it was, a Rick George thing and yada, yada, yada. Everybody saw the video. How does CU move forward to kind of mend the alum and the ex-players that are taken back by this and the new generation of people that have come with Coach Prime? Because there's like a line down the fan base, and I know everyone can feel it. It's happening in the comments. It happens constantly. I can even say that we are the best tampering team in America, and people come to us and people think I'm saying that tampering's bad. No, we're really good at it. I think we kick ass. How do you think we can all stand shoulder to shoulder and heal off of this? Do you think it cheapens it a little bit if Rick starts just retiring people's numbers left and right here going into the season? Every week we're retiring someone's number. I don't know if that has the same weight for me moving forward. So I don't know how to fix this question. I saw TC McCartney said something that was really cool. TC is Coach Mac's grandson, Sal's son, and he's a great coach. He's interwoven in college football. I think he'll be a good head coach one day. They're going to honor Coach Mac with a statue, which is awesome. I can't wait to see it. TC said that retiring numbers is pretty stupid in his opinion in college football because you'll run out of numbers quick because it's on four-year rotations. But then also, we had Hannibal on last Wednesday, and he wore number 8. Well, the same number that Sal wore. Don't you think it should be like if somebody wants, like Lawrence Vickers when he was a freshman, wore 34? Shouldn't that 34 have Chad Brown patch on it? Or like Sal's number, that Hannibal should have a number 8 patch on it. A Westbrook, but an 81, a 10, a 2. Shador should have had a figures patch on his jersey or whatever. So how do you feel, or how do you think that we can all heal off of this? Because that's the next step here is we can have decisiveness and we can have hard talks. But in the reality of it, we're all shoulder to shoulder, and we got to come together here as Buffs.
Yeah, I think the last point is number one. But I think when something like this, when this can of worms gets opened, you got to start to dissect all the worms in the can. And so, what are we retiring numbers for? Why was there this lapse? Why has only been 4 numbers for the last 100 plus 130 years, and now we do 2 here? What's the policy? What's the procedure? Do we need to have a committee that does this, that has current folks, folks from the past? Let's take a fresh look at this process. I like what you're talking about. And now Coach Prime alluded to some of this when he was talking about giving out some of these special numbers, number 1 and things like that.
Yep.
So at certain schools, there's certain numbers where that number is an earned thing. For a while, I believe it was number 60 at Texas. If you played inside linebacker, if you were given number 60, which is not the sexiest of inside linebacker numbers.
That's the best number out there, baby. Don't
which is not the sexiest of inside linebackers. Maybe for a D lineman or an offensive lineman.
Yeah, if you're wearing 60 at middle linebacker, you better be Chuck Bednarik.
Yeah, but there was some kind of tradition there, so that number was earned. It was
like 11 at Penn State.
Yes. Yes.
So LeVar Arrington and Michael Parsons and all the other cats that have worn it, with Abdul Carter wearing it now.
Yeah. So do we do something like that? The patch idea seems great because now we're bridging the past to the current. And so, that guy wears number 2. Oh, and so maybe this year he wears a Shador Sanders, honor, and then maybe next year it's a Deion Figures, and the next guy who wears 34 has got a CB, and at some point he wear, whoever else 34 has been worn by. I'm down for that because yes, you will run out of numbers if you go crazy with this, and then it cheapens it if you give these away. So what's Rick George to do here? And it's a bit sad for me also that this unveiling of the plans for Coach Mack's statue gets kind of lost in this conflict about the retirement of Shador and Travis's numbers, because I think that should have been the lead. But, of course, I've got ties to Coach Mack, and this current regime doesn't have it in the same way. So, how do we do all that? I mean, and this current crop of Coach Prime fans who are also CU fans along the way, but seem to be more Coach Prime fans. Mm-hmm. Those are some difficult folks, as evidenced by the comments on my X feed, to educate on the history of the program and where we've been, and because in their minds CU is a awful football program. Coach Prime came in and saved it, and that's the end of the story. Well, there's a story before that, and there was greatness before that, and there were all Americans before that, and NFL Hall of Famers before that. Cliff Branch, recently inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, I played ball with his son, Brent Branch. So Cliff would come around all the time. In fact, Cliff came back and played in the spring game where we used to play football against the alumni. So not only was I aware of the alumni.
You used to play alumni in the spring game?
Yes, that was a real thing.
Shut up.
So there was a real black and gold game, which was a competitive, full tempo spring game with special teams.
How do I sign up for this? I got one more fucking half in me.
And then there was a alumni game where the alumni would come back. And so the alumni in the 3s would play the 1s and the 2s in a spring football game.
So the alumni get the walk-ons? Fuck, we're screwed.
Yes. And so Cliff Branch came back and took my roommate up top for 2 TDs, ran right past him. I think Cliff was like in his mid-40s by that point. And
that's one fast human being, brother.
And like you, I was like, I can't wait to play in this thing because I'm going to play tight end and free safety. I'm going to blow somebody up.
You're all skinny out here looking all good.
Yes, they canceled that game once I got into the NFL, so I didn't have a chance to do that. But we had a chance to know the past, literally play football against the past greats of CU. So there was that thing. And so this current generation has very little respect in some ways for the past. And it's evidence when I talk to where I'm coaching some kids up or some guys who are preparing for the NFL draft, and I'll give them an example of a player, and they'll say, "Well, who's that?" I'm like, "It's one of the all-time greats. Don't you study football? Don't you know anything?" They don't. If it hasn't happened in the last couple of years, it doesn't exist to them. So how do we bridge that gap? Again, a very long-winded answer to your question, but I think to take a fresh look at this and come up with some programs, the patch program sounds tremendous to me, because now we're honoring the past at the same time.
Absolutely.
Well, Chad, we appreciate you coming on the show, bro, and having, you know, some hard conversations. Retrospectively, it's just a sports conversation, so it's really not that big of a deal. We're not reshaping the wheel or anything, but it is a hard conversation inside Buffalo country right now. Keep doing your thing down there in AZ, brother. All the best to your family, and I can't wait to get you back up here in Boulder and go to a game and get out there and support the black and gold.
Yes, if there's ever an open week in my college football season, you can trust that I will be in Boulder. But, you know, they keep asking me to do games, so, you know, I got to do my job.
You go do your job, and if you ever get a break, we'll go see a game. So,
all right.
CB, we love you, brother. Stay up and yeah, keep doing your thing.
Have a good one. See ya.
Take care, Chad. It's an honor having you on the show, man. Shout out to Chad Brown, 15-year NFL veteran, Colorado alum, for joining the show. Chad, I don't know what's your issue. It bugs the hell out of me seeing people call Chad a hater. When I think if you actually listen to our conversation, he was speaking a lot of facts there, a lot of cool, hard truth facts.
People can call him a hater if they want.
I get over this shit, man. Like the prime sexual.
I agree. It's a little played out, but you can definitely tell who's a prime sexual and who's not, and that's cool. Yeah. Look, I'm a prime sexual, bro. I love Coach Prime. He's the man. All right, I'm on both sides here. So, do I think that Shedeur and Travis should have their numbers retired? Yeah, I do. Do I think they could have figured a better time to do it? Yeah, probably. Do I think that they could have centered the spring game around Coach Mack getting a statue? Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. The man just died. Do I think they could have done this at a home game, like the opener for Friday night against Georgia Tech, or like when they have a bye week or some shit? I don't know. Like, I think that would have been really cool. As a fan, I would have loved to be there for that, but I couldn't go to the spring game, and it's, you know, I feel like they missed an opportunity there to really party with all of the country, you know what I'm saying, and all of Buffalo country at the game. Do I think that CU tampers? Yeah, everyone tampers in college football. And look, you can sit here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm a hater all you want. You obviously don't know what I do for a living, you fucking dummies.
Yep.
I was literally meeting with college football coaches this morning talking about kids that play on other teams. Everyone's tampering at every turn. They're all looking for good players. So I'm not saying tampering is a bad thing. You better be the best tamperer in the world if it's legal.
Yeah.
If it's legal to go and watch other people play football and go, I like number 74, I'm going to reach out to him and try and steal him. And then you can. Do you know how powerful that is? So, you know, I think that there's a lot of folks that just can't get by like definitions or something. I don't know, bro, like just angry. And I stopped giving a shit. Like, you can get as mad as you want. I know the truth. And here's some more truths coming for all you people who think Coach Prime doesn't like us and shit. Coach Prime will be on the show in about 2 weeks, right after the draft. We're probably going to go back up to Boulder like we did last year and sit down with him. So we'll get a good 90 minutes in with Coach Prime one-on-one. We'll be asking him some tough questions and, you know, getting in there and having some laughs and some jokes like we did last time. So I can't wait for that. That's going to be fucking awesome. The interview last year was pretty kick-ass in my opinion. I thought it was really good. But we will build off of that, you know, and get rolling with that. So I'm excited about that after the draft, and we'll know where Shedeur and Travis and Shiloh and the rest of the Buffs have landed. The transfer portal will be a little bit calmed down, so it'll be a good time to go up there and get like the State of the Union with Coach Prime here on 0 to 60. So That would be awesome. I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes me
Everybody must really fucking hate
excited.
us. They want to keep doing interviews and shit. What the fuck?
Hey, no, shout out to Coach Prime. That would be a huge gift for our show, man. It'd be an honor, especially going in.
Hold on your ass.
Yeah, chat. Hold on to your ass. 2 weeks from now, that'll be a huge interview, and I can't wait to discuss that and so many questions, man. I can't wait for that.
Whoa, what is this? What is wrong with you guys? Who would even say some shit like this? No, bro. What is wrong with these?
The chat's going crazy. Chat. Oh, fuck.
Ryan's my boy. And
here's what I say, Matt, to the Prime Session, because I know you gave them a message. You guys gotta wake the fuck up and be real. Chad Brown was real as shit, and if you thought he was hating, you're fucking dumb. That's all I gotta say. Like, that shit bugs the hell out of me, because we were talking portal and stuff. That's some real shit. He said the same thing. I had Rodney Anderson on last week. Who works in NIL says the same damn thing.
I hope Prime doesn't come on. Why? Why are you watching the show? Ban this motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know why you watch this show.
No, peace. That person doesn't get to be involved anymore.
Yeah.
You'll never know, will you? Because you don't get to watch the show anymore.
Absolutely. Well, Rantalytics, if that's true, send the clip, because I call bullshit. Matt, I got to ask you, it's NFL draft week here. We're going to do our official predictions on Wednesday here. But any thoughts, any changes here? I know we've talked about this for months here, and we're 3 days away from, definitely. Yeah. Rest in peace to Don House.
Yeah, I just saw that. We should have said something, and I was wrong not to. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. He's another CU great. Yep. Father of NFL quarterbacks. Yeah, that's never fun. Never fun.
Rest in peace. Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Matt, drafts in 3 days, Matt. I got a lot of predictions here. We'll actually break down our predictions going into on Wednesday, going into Thursday here, Matt. But any bets you're gonna place? Any new predictions you got from the coming from last Wednesday? Any thoughts, Matt? Any new predictions for Shador? You think Travis will drop from 2? You think the Titans will do some crazy shit? Any thoughts?
No, I don't really think there's going to be a lot of crazy things that we haven't seen. I mean, look, I think you should see a lot of trades. I would not be surprised at all if there's a lot of people moving around trying to maneuver. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an awful lot of trades that happen. I don't know when or where. To be honest with you, bro, I just want this shit to be over with. I've got draft fatigue bad. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, definitely. Likewise here, and I can't wait just to have it be over. At least when we can come back next Monday, and not have to talk about this for another year. We'll give our official predictions on Wednesday. I just wanted to get Matt's take and see if he's had any last second thoughts. Are you still set on Travis going to 2 with Cleveland? You think that's going to come to fruition here?
Yeah, I do. Well, it can. Did something happen with Neely that I don't know about?
They're saying Neely's talking shit about you, and I'm yet to see them drop the clip or tag me or
Neely,
so.
Up at CU?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. Analytics, if you got a video, tag us, because I don't know nothing.
I don't care if he does. It's all good. We probably have a difference of opinion. It's okay.
But I think, like you mentioned, here's my question going back to the trades thing, Matt. This is the first year since Montana was traded to the Chiefs in the 90s. There hasn't been a first-round pick traded. Do you think that'll stay, or do you think there'll be a first-round pick traded at all? Any thoughts?
Do I think the first number 1 pick is going to be traded?
Do you think there's going to be a first-round, first-round pick, any of the first 32 picks, will there be a trade? Because right now, there hasn't been a trade, and this is the first time since the 90s that's been the case.
You mean pre-draft?
Yeah, or even draft day. In the first round specifically.
I think there's going to be a lot of trades on draft night, yeah. I think there's going to be maybe 4 or 5.
What teams
people trying to get back into the first round?
I like that. I definitely like that. I'm hearing a lot of rumors. Jalen Milroe to Cleveland. Oh boy. I've
heard a lot of Jackson Dart is caught the Giants' eye. A lot of this, I think, is
hypothetical.
Well, no, I think a lot of it is just like bait. So to see if other teams are going to make moves, or there's a lot of false information that's leaked by clubs at this point to see if you can get somebody else to make a move or do something. You know what I'm saying? And show their cards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is at a point in the poker game where you just have to kind of, read your opponent rather than just read the board, if that makes sense. So, if you're at the poker table, hopefully you got a little bit of sense.
Definitely. Before we get out of here, I can't thank you all tuning in on this fine Monday. Matt, I got to ask you about this. We haven't covered this yet. It's been a great show so far. But Matt, this is some unfortunate news for CU Buffs fans. Colorado starting center Cash Cleveland has entered the transfer portal. This is surprising news for me, and I think it's surprising for other CU Buffs fans. Cash took over as the starting center for Colorado last season, played for 6 games after Hank Solinkas, who was Colorado's starting center last season, now is transferred to Rutgers. Had some snapping troubles. Cash stepped up as a true freshman walk-on, stepped up for Colorado, started 6 games. I thought played pretty damn well for a freshman walk-on. And now is in the transfer portal. And this was some surprising news. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are they probably wanted an upgrade. There's a reason he wasn't on scholarship yet. I appreciate everything Cash did, but we're always trying to upgrade the roster. Mm-hmm. I'm going to trust Coach Prime and Coach Dre and everybody else up front that are building the offensive line. If they didn't put him on scholarship in the spring, they gave it. This is now, might be a yearly thing, which would be a cool little tradition up in Boulder. But they gave Charlie O a scholarship last year at the end of the spring. They gave Feinstein the walk-on safety scholarship at the end of the spring this year. So that's pretty cool. Cash, he's got every right to go hit the transfer portal and try and get a scholarship and he's good enough to be on scholarship. It's just a matter of they probably think the guy behind him is better. And rather than be relegated to a backup role and just be a nice story, Cash is using his leverage. And I'm sure that Coach Prime gave him his blessing and would pick up the phone and help the young man if he asked for it. He's using his leverage to try and go play somewhere else. So I don't think he's getting screwed by any means. This is what football is, folks. Like, you're gonna get replaced. They're always trying. I met with Coach Beatenbaugh this morning from Oklahoma, and the first thing he said to me was, we're always trying to recruit somebody better than the last guy we recruited. We're always trying to find somebody to take the next guy's job. And he's sitting there talking to me about Deacon and Breck and Reese and Nick and Moon and like all these guys that are really good players. And I'm just sitting there watching Nick listen to Coach Beatenbaugh, and I'm like, here we go. This process has been rolling. So I don't think that there's it's not a negative, guys. It's just the way that football works. You're going to have extreme roster turnover in the NIL transfer portal days because there's no contracts either. So maybe if Cash was on a 3-year contract, you wouldn't lose a potential starter down the road or a guy that can help you. I don't like losing him, but I understand that he only has leverage for a certain point, and he's got to find an opportunity to go play. If he's not going to be the starter in Boulder and he's not going to be on scholarship. See, if they would have put him on scholarship and said, we want you to be a 2, I probably think he probably stays. But if he isn't on scholarship and or isn't getting any NIL money to help facilitate that, then he's got to. I guarantee you, somebody out there is going to give him an opportunity on scholarship after what he accomplished last year. So look, use your leverage and go swing for the fences, bro. You're holding the hammer right now, and as a football player, it's very rare to hold the hammer. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah, definitely. And this is I don't blame Cash Cleveland at all. As a walk-on and somebody's working up, I don't blame him at all. If they're not going to put him on scholarship or say you're starting, I don't blame him for bouncing one bit. This is what the transfer portal is all about, so to speak, is finding your opportunity, going and getting paid because, cash coming up, the true freshman walk-on. He didn't even like most true freshman walk-ons aren't playing 6 games, aren't becoming true freshman All-American either. And if Colorado isn't going to respect that, then Cash, I don't blame him at all entering the portal and going and get another deal here because I guarantee you there's another team out there that would want that.
Well, and hey, everybody in the chat, I'm texting Neely right now to figure out if you and I actually have a problem.
Oh.
Well, that's just the way I operate.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
So,
well, here's one thing I wanted to show, Matt, and this is on some sticking on Colorado and actually an interview of Uncle Neely's here. Warren Sapp Coach Sapp talked about the transfer portal and his defensive line, and he sounded really hurt. I'm guessing he's talking about Tajay McCoy, Colorado edge rusher, obviously, who entered the portal and now is signed with Oklahoma State. But he's talking about the transfer portal, Matt. I wanted to show you this. Take a listen here.
Loving what we've been doing. But this transfer portal thing, man, you get waking up with all of a sudden, you got 3-4 names that you need to call and text and find out if this is true, the rumors. Yeah. And one of them was true, and it's something new for me. It's something new. I figured why would you want to leave a room with me? I'm here for you, baby. Yeah. I'm here for you. It's all about you. It's all about you. I mean, I'm good. Whatever I got going, it's been that way, and it's going to stay that way.
Matt, what are your thoughts on Coach Sapp's comments there? I've discussed this with Coach Lever Frederick over the weekend, discussed it with Rodney Anderson last week, also talked about Bill Beatball with Rodney. But nonetheless, I think a lot of college coaches share Coach Sapp's sentiment there. Agree?
Yes. I think Coach Sapp's an old head, just, like a lot of the old heads that don't really like all of this. They like guys getting paid. They want everybody to get something. But the lack of rules and the no relegation and the tampering and everything, it's exhausting. When you pour into a player and you think that that's going to be one of your guys, and then he's gone the next day, and there's nothing you can do. Like Coach Sapp can't get mad. There's nothing you can do. You can't get mad about it. It's what it is. It's the program and the system that we are provided with. Therefore, you can't get angry at it. What's Coach Sapp going to do? Call McCoy and bitch at him, be like, "How could you leave?" Be like, "Well,
he's angry. I think he's more disappointed, but yeah,
he's pissed off. I mean, he's just super disappointed. He looks like, Coach Sapp looked like hurt.
Yeah,
that's even worse than anger, bro. Fuck, that guy really loves this job and he's pouring into his players, and that's. I hate to say this, and it's totally hypocritical because I probably take the money too, but. Sometimes you just have a great coach that you wish the money was there with the great coach. I don't know, if the guy at Oklahoma State's better, maybe they just broke him off a bigger bag. So,
right, yeah,
a team that we just fucking beat by 50 on the last game of the season, and he played pretty well. It sucks. That's for damn sure. I don't like seeing Coach Sapp down in the dumps like that. So. We got to get another 5-star on the portal or something to make him more happy. I like happy Sapp.
Definitely. And Matt, we'll discuss more Colorado Buffs recruiting news next week because they signed a corner and the number 1 safety out of the portal. We'll discuss that on Wednesday. Matt, before I get out of here, I wanted to
cool.
Huh?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we'll discuss all things Colorado Buffs recruiting on Wednesday. Matt, I wanted to ask you if you had seen a video that's making rounds on Twitter, Instagram, and it's of I agree with what old boy's saying there.
I just texted him, so I'll let you know what he says when he responds.
We'll see. Did you see the video of the Cavender twins talking to Trump's granddaughter about why they left Carson Beck or something? They're saying that he was I don't know. I got to find the video, man. I don't know if you've seen this. But I know you love all things Carson Beck here, so I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter. Have you seen this?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh well, apparently, so I guess Trump's granddaughter or whatever. I think it's Kai Trump. I think is the name. She's at Miami, I believe so. Doing some vlog or something, and the vlog caught the Cavender twins who are dating or used to date. One of them used to date You're a big
Didn't
fan.
One of them get engaged?
Huh?
Didn't one of them get engaged or something?
One of them just got engaged with, I think, the Ferguson, the Cowboys tight end. But Matt, I'm just gonna show this, and I saw this, and the first thing I thought of what would Matt's reaction be to this? So take a look, Matt.
And I don't know what my reaction would be.
We were supposed to we go to Nashville, right? He didn't want to come to Nashville. Whole breakout, all this jazz.
Yeah, on his phone like this guy the whole time. Like, dude, get off your phone. But like, does he have like friends?
No,
Like, all the
nobody likes it.
and he wouldn't talk to people. He had like an ego. He's like, he wanted people to stop him and like take a picture.
He would like flip off
hated
people
that.
in the bar, and I'd be embarrassed. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'd be like very embarrassed, and I was like, oh my god, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop it there. Matt, Carson Beck transferred to Miami, and I'm not gonna say it was because of the girl, but I think that definitely played a part, and that's gone south pretty quick here, and it's only April. So any concerns for Miami and Carson Beck, or you think he's gonna go out and have a successful season? This is crazy. Not crazy, it's bad.
So what? His ex-girlfriend's talking shit about him because he's a weirdo. Shocker. Hell knows no fury like a woman scorned. So she can see the fucking video. I'm sure she knows that her and her twin are talking shit. And that's cool. I mean, I think he's a fucking huge weirdo. I mean, I named him Timmy for a fucking reason. So if I was Beck, I would be wanting to go out and just absolutely fist fuck the entire city of Miami into submission for 12 wins and go in the first round. That would be pretty motivating if I were him, but I don't know the kid personally. I mean, look, did we have a couple laughs at his expense? Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily something that if I were him, I would be putting too much credence in. The opinion of ex-females in your life as a man should not be very high on the checklist of whether or not you're doing a good job. Like who gives a fuck what your ex thinks? Like usually the only thing you want to hear from your ex is so you don't have to pay for it anymore.
So you don't have to pay for it anymore. Love it. Great take, Matt.
Just saying.
Yeah, I have no comment.
Yeah, there's plenty of bad bitches in Miami. I mean, he doesn't need to waste his time with them.
Starting quarterback at the U, I think he'll be just fine. But man, great show on this fine Monday here, Matt. We talked about all different kinds of things. So we'll be back on Wednesday. We had a 15-year NFL veteran, Chad Brown, join the show. Give his take on the jersey retirement thing that we all know that the Prime Sexuals have been going at Chad Brown for a while about this. So I wanted to get his take. I'm glad we did. We also talked about Cash Cleveland entering the transfer portal. Got Matt's take on that. Coach Prime calling out Virginia for tampering as they sign Colorado leading rusher from last season, Isaiah Gustav. That's always
that's a good point.
Yeah, that is a great point. But man, great show, Matt. We'll be back on Wednesday.
What do you guys think about Chad? Everybody in the chat, what do you guys think about Chad? Did you think he was heartfelt? Do you think is he just a hater? Is he
ain't a hater, man? Come on, I'm not.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm asking the chat. I want to know what they have to say, what they think.
We know their answer before we even.
Well, I think there was a lot of people that had his back though too. It's not just all.
Johnny C, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about because miss me that shit. By the way, my show's live tomorrow with Chip Brown, 247 sports analyst, covers Texas.
I didn't see what came up on the screen.
They're talking shit. But I will be live tomorrow with Chip Brown, 247 sports analyst, talking all things Texas Longhorns football and Arch Manning tomorrow. So tune into that. I just dropped the link in the chat. We'll be back on Wednesday. And Matt, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm asking the chat what they thought about Chad, and I'm reading the comments. I mean, look, folks, it's hopefully we do a vertical on it and all that shit. But
president of the bitter buff. This shit kills me. Chat, you guys gotta miss me with that shit. That's just crazy.
It's okay for people to have opinions,
I'm not disagreeing, but when they don't have an opinion, they're saying hating, and can't actually point out what he said that would qualify for hating when all he's talking about is NIL and why he disagrees with the rushing of the Colorado Shador and Travis's jersey retirement. That shit kills me. I'm miss me with that, man. I don't know. I think Chad was genuine. It was an honor interviewing him. I really like the
point of the conversation, but it is what it is. I think it's going both ways. People are going after each other, so something else to just fabricate and make up and get mad at each other about. Digital fury is a funny thing.
Oh, very, very.
Digital fury is incredible. Apparently, digital fury reach has no limits. Like digital fury can reach anywhere.
Oh, fun. Matt, great show on this fine Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk all things CU Buffs recruiting as they land top safety in the portal, another corner from Illinois State, and so much more. And I can't wait to really break down here Colorado's quarterback battle. Matt's got Juju. I'm rolling with Salter for now, but I think we'll see flashes of Juju. But I think they'll roll with experience. So we'll discuss that and so much more. Chat, let us know how you feel about Chad Brown. I thought it was genuine. Some don't. Each his own. Matt, great show. We'll be back on Wednesday. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
See you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy your Monday. See you on Wednesday. Peace.